In this week's video, I'm going to reveal 10 outstanding wines that sell for only around $25 per bottle. We're not going to be too big a stickler about that price point. Some may sell for a little bit more, others a little bit less. There's 6 different countries and 9 different regions represented, and there's red, white, and sparkling wine. So there should be something for everyone. The producer that makes the first top wine for $25 per bottle was acquired by the owner of famous supermarket chain Carrefour back in 2001. This owner ultimately resold the estate in 2015, but not before investing a whopping 10 million euros into renovating the chateau, overhauling the winery, and reinvigorating the vineyards. In addition, Chteau de Doofen also hired Michel Rolland as a consultant in 2012. As a result, Chteau de Doofen is arguably now one of the top producers in Fransac, which is on Bordeaux's right bank. Dauphine achieved organic and biodynamic certification in 2016. Dauphine has 53 hectares of vines that average 33 years and are planted to 80% Merlot and 20% Cabernet Franc. Impressively, Dauphine uses plot-by-plot vinification, which helps their winemaking and blending to be a little bit more precise. They generally mature their wines for 12 months in 30% new French oak. The first top wine for $25 per bottle is the 2020 Dauphine, which is arguably the finest wine ever produced by this estate. This wine received 4 different 93-point scores from top critics. This wine is a blend of 85% Merlot and 15% Cabernet Franc. Due to the high Merlot content, it has 15% alcohol by volume, but it is a well-balanced wine. This wine is rich and soft with velvety tannins. Descriptors include blackberry, plum, licorice, leather, and spice. This one will be a little bit better if you can hold off for another year or two. In my experience, Dauphine wines show their best 5 to 12 years post-vintage. Il Poggione traces its roots back to the 19th century, and it's one of the original 3 producers of Brunello di Montalcino. Despite also being one of the largest producers in Brunello, it still does all its vineyard work by hand. While many of you are familiar with their excellent Brunello di Montalcino, they also have an outstanding Rosso di Montalcino. As with the Brunello di Montalcino, the Il Poggione Rosso di Montalcino is 100% Sangiovese from estate-grown fruit. With the Brunello, Il Poggione uses fruit from vines that are a minimum of 20 years old, so it's often just the fruit from the younger vines that goes into the Rosso di Montalcino. This wine matures for 12 months in large oak casks. It's a wine that you can buy with confidence year in and year out. The 2021 bottling should be on store shelves now, and 2022 should be there soon if it's not already. I still remember a couple years ago tasting the 2018 vintage during a podcast I did with the winemaker for Il Poggione. After that podcast was done, I shared the wine with some friends at the wine club, and a few of them ordered it on the spot because they thought it would be an ideal cellar defender. If you're not familiar with this wine, you can expect flavors and aromas of black cherry, plum, and mixed spice. It has grippy tannins and ample acidity. There's impressive concentration and structure for a Rosso di Montalcino. The next top wine for $25 a bottle is a blend that consists of Tempranillo, Garnacha, Graciano, and Mizuelo from a legendary Rioja producer. This wine comes from the youngest vines of this impressive producer, but that means that they still average an impressive 40 years of age. This fruit comes from a 24-hectare plot that's certainly capable of producing Gran Reserva quality Rioja. But Lopez Heredia believes it's very important to have a wine in the Crianza category. So consumers are getting an exceptional value when they buy this next top wine for $25 per bottle, which is the 2016 Lopez Heredia Viña Cubillo Tinto Crianza. This wine matured for 2 years and used American oak and another 2 years in bottle before it was released, so certainly very impressive aging for a Crianza. 2016 was a little bit cooler than 2015, so this one has a little bit lower alcohol and more acidity and freshness. This one offers exceptional quality for a Crianza, and it's a wine that will rival the quality of many Gran Reserva Riojas. This wine is fresh, floral, and refined. It's not quite as elegant as the Tondonia, but it's also half the price. So you really can't go wrong with this wine, and it's definitely one to consider stocking up on. Knights Valley has rocky, well-drained soils that are ideally suited to the production of high-quality Cabernet Sauvignon. Knights Valley received AVA status in 1983. Knights Valley is the warmest AVA in Sonoma County, but it also has cool nights, and this wide diurnal range helps to preserve acidity and freshness in the grapes that are produced there, and in the resulting wines as well. So the next top wine for $25 per bottle is the 2021 Beringer Knights Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. Beringer has owned and farmed its Knights Valley vineyard since the mid-1960s. This wine has a profile that consists of red and black fruit, dried herbs, tobacco, and spice. It's full-bodied with ample acidity, and it comes in at around 14.8% alcohol by volume. This is a wine that you can enjoy now with a healthy decant, but it will certainly be better if you can hold off for another year or so. Located in the Nahe, Dönnhoff is an iconic German producer that traces its roots back more than 250 years. The next top wine for $25 a bottle is Dönnhoff's 2021 Riesling Trocken Tonschiefer. This outstanding dry Riesling comes from the family's original vineyard, Oberhauser Leistenberg, so that makes this vineyard and the resulting wine particularly special. This wine is aptly named as Tonschiefer means clay slate, and it is clay slate soils that dominate the vineyard that produces the fruit for this wine. This is a mineral-driven wine with flavors and aromas that include white peach, lemon, pink grapefruit, and smoke. This wine has very high acidity and a long finish, really an impressive Riesling for this modest price point. This wine comes in at 12% alcohol by volume and is produced from organically grown fruit. If you're interested in wine recommendations, wine collecting strategies, and learning more about wine, please do subscribe to my channel. I've been collecting wine for more than 15 years and also have a level 4 diploma from the WSET. So I have both formal certification as well as substantial practical knowledge from the School of Hard Knocks. Guaytayari is an area in Mendoza, Argentina's Uco Valley that's increasingly becoming known as a source for high-quality wines. And it's not just Malbec. They're also producing some exceptional white wines in Guaytayari. The vineyards in Guaytayari are located between 1,100 and 1,600 meters above sea level, so certainly very, very high elevation here. Due to this high elevation, there's cooler nighttime temperatures in Guaytayari that helps to produce wines with ample acidity and freshness, such as the next top wine for $25 per bottle, which is the 2021 Enemigo Chardonnay. And if you look around, you may also be able to find this highly acclaimed Chardonnay for closer to $20 a bottle. This wine is made from sustainably grown fruit and comes in at 13.5% alcohol by volume. There was a very intriguing production process for this wine. This wine was matured in large oak barrels that were not topped off, and as a result had a layer of floor like what you would find with Fino sherry. Notwithstanding the fact that this wine matured in 100% oak, it's not overly oaky, as only about 1/3 of the oak was new, and also the oak barrels were larger 500-liter barrels rather than the standard, much smaller barriques. Flavors and aromas for this wine include lemon, mango, apple, dried fruit, and chamomile tea. This wine also has an appealing texture. Back when I was doing a lot of patent litigation, one of the biggest cases that I worked on was against a company that was located in the Santa Barbara, California area. And so as a result, I ended up making about 12 to 15 trips to the Santa Barbara area over a 4 or 5 year period. And whenever I did that, I made sure that my work ended on a Thursday afternoon so that I'd have the entire weekend to go wine tasting and to visit the various wine-producing regions in Santa Barbara County. As a result, I was able to discover a producer that I really enjoyed named Stolpman. So the next top wine for $25 per bottle is the 2022 Stolpman Estate Syrah. The fruit for this wine comes from an area called Ballard Canyon, This is a meaty, savory wine, and flavors and aromas include blueberry, plum, mixed spice, forest floor, and violets. This wine has impressive acidity and round tannins. It's already extremely enjoyable, but it's definitely capable of aging as well. In fact, just a year or two ago, I found one in my cellar that had about 10 years of bottle age on it, and it was extremely impressive and made me wish that I had bought a lot more of it when I had the chance. Next up is the Roederer Estate Brut Rosé. This impressive sparkling wine is produced by the California operations for famous champagne house Louis Roederer, which produces Cristal. This wine is a consistent performer year in and year out, but the current release is particularly highly acclaimed. The fruit for this sparkling wine comes from the very cool Anderson Valley area. This wine is 56% Pinot Noir and 44% Chardonnay, and it matures on the lees for an impressive 2 years. Flavors and aromas for this impressive sparkling rosé include strawberry and cherry, bread dough, ginger, and spice. They produce about 11,000 cases of this wine, so you should have no trouble tracking it down, but definitely shop around a bit, as I saw prices vary quite wildly for this particular wine. If you end up spending a little bit more than $25 a bottle for a couple of the wines in this video, this next wine will get you back to even, as I saw a number of places selling it for as little as $20 per bottle. You really can't go wrong with the Calera Central Coast Pinot Noir, as this wine is a consistent value year in and year out, and it's extraordinarily difficult to locate quality Pinot Noir at this price point. Calera was founded by famous winemaker Josh Jensen way back in 1975. The Central Coast is located about 25 miles east of Monterey Bay, and Calera has been producing outstanding Pinot Noir for decades. Calera also makes some single vineyard Pinot Noir that I really enjoy, including one called Jensen, but this Appalachian Pinot Noir offers surprising quality for the price. They produce a lot of this wine as well, more than 20,000 cases per year, so you should definitely be able to track it down. Flavors and aromas for this wine include red and black cherry, raspberry, earth, and spice. It has ample acidity and supple tannins. The producer that makes the next top wine for $25 a bottle was founded back in 1973. Its goal is to make wines that are strong and concentrated, precise, but yet with impressive acidity and freshness. Jean-Marc Brocard is a big proponent of organic and biodynamic farming. In my experience, producer Jean-Marc Brocard makes Chablis that offers excellent quality at a number of price points. In last week's video on underrated wines, I mentioned a Chablis that was named St. Clair. That's definitely an impressive Chablis for only around $25 per bottle. But since that time, I've also found out that there's an old vines version of St. Clair that's made from vines that average an extremely impressive 75 years. Amazingly, these old vines have root systems that extend more than 25 meters below the soil's surface. While I stand by the recommendation for the standard Brocard St. Clair, this old vines version takes things up a level and is definitely worth paying a few dollars extra for if you can track it down. If you'd like to level up a bit and see some of my top wine recommendations for $50 a bottle, be sure to check out this video that's linked above.